Good morning, people. Good morning, everyone. Good morning and hello, Tuesday. Today is April 19th, 2022, and the time is about 5:35 a.m. It will be sunrise at 6:10 today. Yes. So when it hits 6:10, welcome sunrise. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yes. I enjoy every morning and welcome in the sunrise, and you're looking at the Manhattan skyline, and it is raining out there, so it's very cloudy. You don't see a lot of detail out the window that you're seeing, and the birds just started chirping. So when I came on, the birds are chirping. I love it. I love to hear the birds chirp in the morning. It reminds me of when I used to live in the island of Maui. It's a part of Hawaiian Islands. And yeah, I would have to leave my place around 5:30 in the morning. I would get up at 5, leave by 5:30 and walk to work. Took like a half an hour to get to work. And when I would leave my place, there was a giant tree. It's a banyan tree, and that's where all the birds stayed in the morning. And it almost sounds like they're fighting. It's a real lively. So I enjoy that. I enjoy hearing the birds sing, you know. And it also lets me know that sunrise will be shortly. So around a half an hour before sunrise, the birds start getting activated, and they come out and they sing. I love it. Yes, so good morning, all of you. Hello, Tuesday. Tuesday Talk. What do I want to talk about? It's going to be an extension of what I talked about yesterday. I did a live video yesterday. Yesterday, late afternoon or early evening, and I mentioned about um, these remote viewers who remote viewed um, about some of the political leaders out there. I don't want to give them by name, but one of them is a country in Europe and is fighting another country, and they wanted to know, remote view, what may be influencing that leader. And it's very controversial, but I think it's time for us to expand our thinking. Yeah, I was programmed to, believe in Santa Claus. Santa Claus somehow delivers presents, but then again, um, you're brought to a store to buy gifts and wrapping paper. So go figure. But it's about expanding your mind, and uh, people can tell you one thing, could tell you that there's a Santa Claus, but then in the next minute, oh, where's my birthday? Where's my Christmas present? And you see everybody with wrapping paper and going out, bringing in bags of boxes and stuff like that of presents. But we still will entertain this Santa Claus. So we're being showed the truth, but you talk yourself out of it to believe a narrative that is questionable, but it feels good, and so you do it. You go along with it. Well, we seem to be going along with the world is just by accident, the things that we see, and what could be influencing us. It seemed like in the 1950s, the rise in UFO phenomena, and people were experiencing things. Many things seem to be happening after World War II. Even is it wasn't it the creator was that the United Nations? What was it? Wasn't it supposed to be designed to protect people, protect nations? But somehow you have this massive building called the United Nations or the UN, and they're located right here in Manhattan, but there's no peace on the world. No peace. But yet they call it the United Nations, and they're not united. And you have big nations that swallow little nations. Well, anyway, with yesterday's conversation, that I shared with you that this program that I watched by an organization called Farsight. They do have a YouTube channel and they have a website, and I subscribe to them. Paid subscription on their website, and they share different remote view sessions, and they share the data. And one of it was these seem like a hierarchy. You have the head honcho. Allegedly, you have a head honcho, and this head honcho it has like a reptile face. And I shared with you that in a meditation session last month, I saw this reptile being. I was shocked. And I know it's real. And then in the hierarchy, you have, we call it the grays, those classic ET, the funny shape, the very large almond shaped eyes, the big head. And they're like, could be like second in command. And then they have these other little things, the little round things that can attach itself, people, to you. And these little things, you can even call them gremlins, little round things. They're ethereal. They don't have like mass. They're like energy bodies. And the ones that they show were, he drew them as little round balls that have something that connects to the host. Think of it like a leech. Well, these things have consciousness, and it could do its will upon the victim. And one of the victims was one of these political leaders, influencing the way they think. They harass them with thoughts. But they're doing it on behalf of the dragon slash reptile. Doesn't the Bible talk about the snake? That's a reptile too, right? Doesn't the Bible talk about that? That the mark of the beast, the how you have these invaders that would come down. Well, maybe that's who they're talking about, these beings. And they have a network, and they are lording over the planet. So you wonder why there's no peace, even with the UN, because you have this dragon-like, lizard-like being. It's highly intelligent. It's very deliberate. See, the thing is, it's not about how intelligent someone is. It's about how sly and evil someone is. It's about intention. You can have the most intelligence around, but that doesn't make you a leader. It's about people having a drive to control others, and that's what's happening. You have beings that have a drive to control others for its purpose, whatever what that purpose is. And they are dominating a lot of things. So it was interesting that to find that even the leaders are being influenced. I wonder whether the leader in the country that I'm in, New Yorkers, whether that individual is being manipulated to do and say things. I still can't figure out how this person was selected. You have so many other people, candidates, younger candidates, that can do the same thing. But you see that this person seems to be involved with other things, and surprisingly, it's involved with what's happening now. That particular country that got invaded last month, one or 2 months ago. See that? So it seems like people's hands are in different cookie jars, and so they want him to complete his task, even though mentally he doesn't seem stable or healthy. And this same organization, Farsight, did a remote view session about the next U.S. presidential election, and it doesn't look good. It doesn't mean that harm is going to happen to every state, but it did show that there's something that's to happen, something that's going to happen in, I have to get my plug. Yeah, there's the message is prompted that, I'll have to find the plug, yeah, find it. The batteries are going dead, so I have to get it out. Oh, so let me try that. But it's hard to do two things at the same time. Get the wire, it's all tangled now. Yeah, so I have to plug this in. Excuse me for the interruption here. Okay, I have to plug it in. Yeah, I have to get it plugged in so that we don't get this interrupted. Let me get this. Just bear with me. Bear with me. I have to put this down for a moment. Yeah, I'm still here. Just got to get this out. Almost done. Oops. Sorry about that. Boy, okay. Just have to plug it in. Yeah, I can have this transmission. Trying to get the hole. Good, I just got it in. Okay. Okay, so that should be okay now. Sorry, I apologize for that. So what's happening now, you have you have things happening all at once. People at play. People are doing things to one another. You have, again, we just got over that pandemic that's been around for two years now. Yeah, it started, was that January? You heard it in Asia, and then it reached New York in March of 2020. And so now they seem to be trying to implement a new phase. You still see a lot of things happening. It's trying to recover. We have a lot of tourists now in New York City. And Yeah, and I recovered from something that happened late last month. These cold-like symptoms. I had it for about 2 weeks. So I'm slowly now going back outside, with my gang here, my little doggies. So what I want to, so what about now? Okay, you have all these political things happening. You have people doing remote viewing, and they're sharing information. They're sharing information about the dragon slash lizard, and the Bible talks about the dragon, and somehow all these things are trying to do a global control. What else is affecting me? Okay, I've been watching many videos, with all this melee happening in in the United States and in New York City where I live. Um, sorry, let me move this up. Trying to get trying to get comfortable here. Yeah, in New York City. What's happening here in New York City? Well, to tie this all in. Well, it's trying to recover, and I notice, yeah, propaganda. See, again, I mentioned about the Santa Claus, and despite what reality is telling you, you want to believe lies. You're so brainwashed, and I definitely was brainwashed beyond brainwashed. I I notice about, again, what can influence people. Okay, so you have those little balls that I showed you in the yesterday's video, the orbs, and I tied in that the orbs and what that show, Farsight, when they did the remote viewing and they drew on this board these little round things that connect to the person's mind energetically. They're not like physical balls, matter. It's energy and the influence. Well, what's influencing, let's say, television? Who's in charge of television productions? And we watch things here in America, and in New York City, we have a lot of chaos. And the media was used for the past 4 years, especially, to get certain demographics here, in specific black people, to do acts of violence because of uh, the law enforcement killing of unarmed black people. Even though there's black on black crime that is so high, there's more black on black crime than the police shooting unarmed black people. And both cops, we have black cops here in America, we have Hispanics, we got women, we got a lot of stuff, at least here in New York City. But somehow the focus is on when a cop. Now, all life matters. And I don't know why it's not affecting us to why are we doing black on black crime? That should be the main focus. But if you're saying, well, we can't help ourselves because they're making me do it. And I think what they're trying to say is, and I don't really swallow it, but I think this is what's happening. That they are experiencing manipulation, that they are maybe being influenced by those energy balls that I showed you in yesterday's video, that could attach itself, multiple ones could attach itself to your mind and put crazy thoughts in your head, angry thoughts, violent thoughts. And remember also yesterday I mentioned about that guy in New York City about a week ago. About a week ago in New York City, a man, a black man, age 62, that's the number 6 and the number 2, 62, went on a rampage on a train and used smoke canisters and then a gun and shot up 10 people. And this was otherwise just a typical urban black man, senior black man. And he has an episode. What made him do that? What made him do that? Yes, he has a criminal record, just like a lot of people here have criminal records. Poor black dude, and just trying to make their way in New York City. Yeah, New York City is not a friendly place for black people. It does not like doesn't like us. But yes, you have some blacks who do very well. But you can make money. Sure, you're smart enough and you know how to market yourself. You can make money and a living, but it's very stressful socially. There's not a lot of social outlets. And somehow, when Black America come together in these urban centers, it's a lot of violence, unfortunate, a lot of violence, physical violence. And I'm wondering the influence from these ethereal balls that could attach itself. And the drugs that are put in this community, you start to wonder. You start to ask questions. Again, when you see these videos, like Farsight, and they're showing you the occult meaning hidden, a hidden hand, a hidden agenda. And again, they have the media. The media is a very big tool. It is more powerful than any bomb, any lethal weapon. And they're using it against society. It's used against the black community. And so with this media, growing up, you're 15 and above. I know you saw these videos, these commercials. And what did they show? They showed young black children hungry, bugs crawling in their eyes. It is horrible, 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 horrible. This is all they ever showed. Or you have this National Geographic's type of show. And they never like talk to the people, and what makes them tick, what they like to eat, a conversation. But they pretty much showed them like how they would do an animal. So they dehumanize the African, the dark-skinned African. But they never do that for Western Europeans. They never call a Western European a native. Let's say you go to Western Europe and you see the people. They never refer to as a native. But if they go to Africa and they know the names of the people, the tribe or the country, but they always call them native, like a pejorative. So why mention? So this is where the propaganda go in, how it influences the way you think. And if you think that you are only a native what? What's the name of your tribe? What's the name of your language? What's the name of your religion? Who are you? So, with this media, this television especially, and now internet. People are learning about other people. What are they learning about you? Well, they could make or break who goes to what country. This one lady on YouTube shared honestly that she a friend of hers was a black female, black American, a light-skinned black American, and she, someone who she knew was talking to her about Africa. Hey, you should go to Africa. And she, pretty much said, responded in a way that, yes, many of us, including myself, would think, oh, why go over there? What's over there? Because in our mind, we're thinking about that poor little child that's hungry. Who wants to see that? I know I don't. But it's only through now the internet that you can get a glimpse of what some parts of Africa look like. That they have cities. Some of them have skyscrapers, urban centers, and of course they have the rural areas where they have the wild animals. But some of the look at the natural beauty is gorgeous, but the media here in America, they never want to show you that it has urban centers, it had cities, it's cosmopolitan. They never showed that. And so I am even surprised. And I want to educate myself and see and experience other places. The media purposely wants us afraid of ourselves, afraid to be an African, afraid to be a person of color. Now, if black skin was so evil as they want you to think, then why are there so many suntan booths all around? Like places like California, like they have natural sun there. Southern California is warm all year, basically. So why do you have all these suntan booths? Why are there plastic surgery to make your lips big? Hello, people. Who just has Santa? Who has dark skin and full lips in general? Like Santa Claus. Say that there's a Santa Claus like bring these gifts, yet you're buying gifts in wrapping paper and then trying to convince your children who already saw you buying it, they might have even been with you. Cognitive dissonance. There is a cognitive dissonance all over the planet and definitely in America. Cognitive dissonance that says you're bad and they are good. Yet it doesn't make sense. But they want you to believe a narrative about you. And they are hiding your greatness. Every country has its ups and downs, its good side and bad side. But for us to not be showed something that's so like wow, it's part of the program to make you feel helpless. Now, I think part of the reason why they do that, see, they don't want, even though they don't like black people here, they want to teach you to dislike blackness, black people, Africans. They don't want you to leave. Get that? They don't want you to leave and go back home. They want you disconnected to your homeland. They want you to think that of the child with the bugs on them. So you don't have a desire to go back. It's like in slavery, so to speak, that, hey, how to keep them home, how to keep them stuck here? We'll make them think that the place where they came from doesn't exist anymore, they don't want you, etc. So you're stuck here and you start to fight each other because you feel like you don't have options. People, what I'm sharing today, you have options. You have options. The option is to educate yourself, to go outside of the box. Educate yourself to know what's going on this planet, and that you are being used. They don't like you here. And then you stay here and you're killing each other. But yet you're talking about a white police officer or some police officer killing you. Yeah, that does happen. I'm not trying to trivialize. I'm not trying to be insensitive. I shared with you guys what happened to me in November of 2021. What happened with I was assaulted, and what the police did. Yeah, so I see what can happen, and I have family members that had their experience with the NYPD. So I'm not trying to pretend that it doesn't happen. It does happen, but it's a whole system that is targeting a demographics. It wants you to believe a certain thing. So blacks believe it. Police, society in general are taught a false narrative about you. We believe lies about each other. And it's all about control, and that control is being manipulated by that dragon. That dragon is controlling a lot of leaders. Don't you think they control Hollywood? Holly Freak. They're telling, they're influencing a lot of blacks here, black men, that they are girls. You heard me right. There are a lot of young black men who are dressing like girls, but they're out of their mind. You see them walking around really bizarre with these wigs, this rags on. I'm not talking about a drag queen. These are people out of their mind. They don't know who they are. I wonder how many of those little round balls are influencing them. So I started watching different programs on African countries. And some of it is amazing. I'm always amazed when I see that Africa has cities. Like here in New York, I live in a city that you're looking at. Yet we don't know about these things. Many of us don't. And now, what I thought was really interesting, what I learned today. Okay, I did share that it was some European country is getting in contact, I think with Senegal, that it wants it to do something about I think it was Ukraine and Senegal, and getting African countries involved in its melee. And I find it intriguing. Why is this? Why now is what the conflict in Europe is now spilling over into Africa to get involved? I don't know how true it was, but that they weren't allowing certain black students who were in school in that part of the world, in Europe, out of the country. Not to my understanding, is that they did not have they wanted citizens of the country that's being invaded to leave first. And for me, okay, you may not like that, but you should be concerned about your citizens first, and then it's guests. But either way, now, and I'm thinking because of that, that they want to get uh, sympathy or attention from African countries for its defense, and I think that is a different that's a different paradigm shift now, because always Europe for Europe, Europe's involvement with other Europeans. When things are to be discussed, like every war, like World War I, World War II, I don't know any African nation that was in those talks. And part of Africa was invaded during the time of these wars, but yet they were not a part of the talks. So now they want you a part of the talks, which I found was interesting. Well, there's something else happening. That yeah, this is what I saw today when I turned on my iPad. That you have Canada, and Canada is inviting some black nations in Africa to come and represent its football team. This is not the first time that countries of mostly European residents have done. I remember hearing that Germany had done that. They will recruit players from other countries to play in their team. Why is this? It's something that you are being used to glorify another country. And they may entice you with more money. I mean, again, they may have more resources, a bigger bank account. Be careful. Because, see, then to be used for your strength and your abilities, but you're not a part of the economy. I mean, you're not a part, it doesn't really benefit your nation. It's like taking a young child, a young man, out from their parents' house, and their parents rely on the strength of that young man to help and assist its subsistence. I mean, it's subsistence. It's gathering materials, things to sustain itself. And when you pull that young man in its prime away from its family, how's this family going to be sustained? They're being lulled away, enticed. They might wag money, jewelry, cars, and even women, entice them to go over to these other countries and squeeze out any life in him. And once he's finished his prime, he is thrown out. Now, yes, maybe when they recruit him, yes, he can send money home, or she can send money home. But it's not, you want your child next to you. Part of that society. If you only send out the rich, I mean the strong and the intelligent ones out, you don't have anyone to help the infrastructure of that country. You understand what I'm saying? If you take away the best of your country to help another strong country, how is that country who's releasing them, how are they going to grow? How are they going to grow? You have to ask yourself these questions. Is it worth it, people? I'm trying to trying to let you know that you are valuable. You are valuable, and you're valuable to others, and you don't see it. Beware when someone wants you in their country. What skill they want from you, why don't you give it to your own country and develop it? So again, with media. Now, I learned that here you have France. Now, I learned just recently that France is the #1 country in the world of visitors from other countries. It's the #1, and Spain is #2. Now, France is doing very well. Its money and stuff is being turned over. You know, it's mixing. It's thriving, and France also is very prideful of its culture and language. So, despite all the visitors from all over the world, it has its national identity. It prizes its language of French. But some places they're not um, promoting their native tongue. I mean, it's good to be multilingual, but to have a strong identity and a language to unite your country is a big factor on how important you feel you are. Look at Japan. Japan has a thriving economy. And I just learned that Japan is 98% Japanese. That leaves 2% of its population, 2%, being foreign. They prize their language and their culture. And they don't want people to just come in and not speak the language. Even in housing, they don't want to rent to foreigners. And even to the extent, get this, even if the person is 100% Japanese, but they were born somewhere else and they're coming back home, their parents are Japanese, and their kid want to come back to their native land. Did you know that they didn't want to rent to that person a house? An apartment. So it goes that deep. When I saw that yesterday, I think it was yesterday or the day before, I was like, wow. So it's not just blood, their bloodline. They are so strict in Japan to keep it Japanese, keep the language, the culture. And even if you go away, I mean, if the parents move and have a kid abroad and want to bring them back, then they're not wanted. And the girl was very hurt. So it's not just blood, you know. She has all the blood, but she's not there. So they're so guarding their existence. And I can't help but, admire it in part, that zeal to keep their identity. And I think the United States of America, even though it has many, many different nationals here, it needs to keep a central identity for the people to bring it together. But that's not what's happening here. That's not. And again, they may use Black America to enforce certain politics, like with the voting. It targeted Black people to what do you call it? With the ballots, they were sending them multiple ballots to vote in because it was believed that many Black people are Democrats. So they use Black people again as a weapon here. That's why they want to keep you here. They use you, Black America, for politics, using the race card. but it's never really on your behalf. Because if it really was about your behalf for the past 4 years, there wouldn't be a lot of black homelessness on the street and a lot of drug addicts. So they're not being helped. BLM did not get those homes. We heard about the BLM organization and the ladies, the lesbians, are taking the money and buying themselves luxury homes, multi-million-dollar homes. Any those homeless people on the street in those homes? I don't think so. And those ladies, as I mentioned, are lesbians, but it's an interracial relationship, a black woman and a white woman. Now again, you marry who you want to marry. Who you love is who you love. But interesting that you start to wonder who's controlling who. Who's controlling who? Remember with the little balls that attach yourself? Sometimes you don't need those little round balls to influence. They could have people assigned to you. They are people who are assigned to other people to control. They infiltrate communities, people. They could attach themselves to your community and spy on your community and then influence the leaders that you would find in the black community to keep a narrative, to foster a narrative of helplessness and despair. And but keeping you trapped here in America because you don't know of any options. There's a big world out there. There is a big world in Africa. And to know that there are options. And to wake up and smell the coffee, that you are greater than you realize. And you have outside forces that are influencing the way that you feel about yourself, feel about your skin, your hair. You are beautiful. There's nothing ugly about you, but they want you to think you're ugly and do ugly things. Start looking outside and seeing the ugliness that's in others that are doing this, that are behind all this melee. See, people, humanity is being invaded by outside forces. So if they can invade a man from a European leader, they can also do it to you. And they are. Start taking control over you, over your family. Start realizing that the world is what's happening in the world is more complicated than you realize. That you're being fooled, you're being manipulated, and you're being taught to despise yourself. But you are wonderful. There's no such thing as a superior person. We all have our gifts, our natural gifts. And they want you to use all your gifts upon somebody else who doesn't respect you. You give your all, just like these footballers, soccer players, are being recruited from Black Africa to go to white Canada to play for them. Shouldn't the greatness stay in those African nations? Why give your glory to another nation who may despise you? And they're just using you for money and glory, their glory. Start fortifying your country. Start advertising your country. You need to do this. Now, with the internet, It makes it easier. Get people who understand your culture and to broadcast it. Show the wonderful things of your country. We only know what you share. And certain countries in Africa, they don't share. It's not a lot of information. You need to share and showcase. That's the way I was thinking of. You need to showcase your home, your country, the way you do things. If you have sports or arts and crafts, your natural beauty, your landscapes, your animals there. You need to show it. This is part of the warfare that's going on. It's a warfare over your perception. The perception that exists is negative about you. You need to educate us, all of us, and yourselves. Start showcasing your beauty. And you will see that more people will start coming and visiting. If the if most people are going to Western Europe or France and Spain, they get all the money. Why can't you have people go and visit your country? Make it easy for them to want to visit and spend their money on you. And be very careful also. The other trend I see is that, and it's each time I hear the same thing. You have expats going back to Africa. But what do they say? They say things like, oh, I can't wait to go to Africa and I'm going to, it's about changing Africa. This one guy from Georgia, and he says he has many job things set up there. But I never heard him say about him embracing the culture, embracing the language, the food. He is about changing Africa, changing it to fit his image. Now, you can't do that in Japan. Hey, I want to go in Japan and change the language, change this and that. No. Respect your country, Africa. I mean, Africa is a continent, not a country. You have 54 countries in Africa. Don't have these people come into your country to change it. You keep your culture, your language. That which is good, if someone has a technology that will benefit the indigenous people there in that country, well, do so. But ask them. Ask them what they need help in rather than telling them, oh, you need this or that. Respect the culture. Respect its boundaries. Assimilate. You need to assimilate. Why change Africa? Change your own country where you come from. Guy from Georgia, why don't he go and stay in Georgia and change his people there in Georgia? But he's going to go into your country without understanding it and want to change it. Be very careful. Yeah, be very careful even with blacks that go to the motherland. Are they there to try to change it into its image, or they want to embrace it? Embrace the culture. Yeah, you got it's a war on your mind. And that war on your mind could be from any individual, black, white, yellow, or red. Anybody could be used to pull your country down. So I think, in short, it is a war on your mind and war on your perception to alter the way you think about yourself so that they can control you and even manipulate you and pull you away from your country to benefit a fat country. And once they're done with you, they discard you. Okay? Yeah, you start loving your country. Love the country's language. Love your language. protect it, just like what they do in Japan. And that's why it's thriving the way it is. Start valuing your culture, your language, your customs, and demand any foreigner, regardless of their race, to respect its culture, language, customs, and all that. And be aware of the tricks of the enemy, how they infiltrate and attach itself to leaders. And it can actually be happening within your own home. Yeah, this hierarchy of control is everywhere. And they're trying to pull down the planet. So I know it sounds very bizarre, the things I'm talking about, but I share with you how some of the things, especially yesterday, how some of the things that I talked about influence each other. How that the veil is getting thinner and thinner, that you're able to see the occult side of the world, because now the veil is thinner. And so those people like myself who do meditations in the morning, I'm seeing more and more things, and some of those things are getting uncomfortable. What I shared yesterday. Yes, yes, the veil seems to be getting more, it's getting more personal, the things that I'm seeing, more intimate, more perverse. Yeah, the veil, there is a hierarchy out there of different beings that influence. Some people call them, people from the, UFOs. I know it sounds ridiculous, the concept of UFOs. They want you to believe in that it's fake, but like Santa Claus, it's fake, but it's real. you know, there are things out there that are beyond your imagination that exist, and that they have control over you, or could control themselves. I mean, could control you and your experiences. So when people like family members start to act bizarre, get into these weird rants, start asking yourself, what is happening? What is attaching itself? Well, I showed you in my video yesterday. I have another channel called Orb Whisperer, and you have an energetic world. These little round energy balls that are everywhere, that seem to be alerted, somehow they get alerted by your activity. You get up in the morning, like I have cameras set up in my home. You get up in the morning, and somehow they seem to come in when you get up. Or when you go in another room, they get activated. Remember in the Bible, though, remember the Bible, people. Remember in the Bible, this talks about be careful what you say because you're being listened to. Well, maybe that's what they're talking about, those orbs. They can be activated, they come out. And I would imagine that some orbs could be benevolent, and maybe some aren't benevolent. I mean, they might look like orbs, but they might be like, let's say, on an energetic level, are they those that are, we call it astral projection? And so they look like those little energy balls. Some are maybe, people who had passed over, on the other side, had passed away. And so the energy body. But let's say there are people who could artificially separate from their body, such as with astral projection. Or maybe they could just move their mind. Remember, I talked about yesterday about, what's that country? Tibet. Did you know that the Third Reich had went into Tibet to recruit or to take the monks there because they know how to astral project? And they took them. And after they used them, they destroyed them. The whole bunch of dead bodies of these monks. They don't really talk about that. See, there's occult history out there. There is occult histories out there that they don't want the masses to know about. You have people who know how to move their mind and could go and attach itself to people, whether they be leaders or whether they be your neighbor. Don't you wonder why some neighbors act crazy and you've done them no harm? Or what they call the TI community. What is the TI community? Why are they targeting you? Shouldn't they just get a life? Come on. Or maybe they're being influenced by these things. And they're assigned to you for a reason. So just try to protect yourself. Be aware. And start demanding, especially Black America, Blacks throughout the Americas, to start seeing your value. These other races, they know your value, but they don't want you to see it. Start seeing your innate value and start loving yourself, educating yourself, loving your children. You need to start loving your children. Community. Community. You may be required to leave, at least maybe to reestablish yourself, to detox. I've been to different locations on this planet, and some of the things that I constantly hear amongst people on my journeys, that they left to go to another location to heal their mind, to heal their bodies, to detox. This is a very toxful domain, this country that I live in. It's very toxic, and you may, for a season, need to detox. Do so, and do so with your family, and then come back and feel refreshed, okay? So I thank you for listening. And again, this video is not to poo-poo other nations. It is about opening up your eyes that not all the things that you see are real, and that there's something that's happening behind the scenes, and that people, especially Black America and Blacks throughout the African diaspora, should learn to love themselves and realize that they are valuable, and so valuable that now you have Europe and Canada asking for your help, Black Africa's help. You are valuable. You always have been. Start believing it. Even if you don't believe it, believe in yourself. Believe in you. Thank you again. And those of you who like this content, I invite you to my PayPal site. On the top right of the banner of my channel name is Spirit Journey. On the right-hand side of the banner, you see my PayPal Me link. Just click on the link, follow the prompt, and any amount would be greatly appreciated. I thank you in advance. Peace, love, joy to you and your loved ones. Take care. Until next time. Bye-bye.